Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for checking out today's video. Today I want to talk a little bit about the Royal Champion, the different ways that we're using her, and the way that it's kind of changing the way I think about bases. So let's go ahead and jump into our last war. First off, we just matched Zombie Doom, and we're doing like heroes down wars because a lot of people are farming, so that's going to be interesting. Anyways, let's see. We'll go to here. Lost by 2. We also had somebody no-show. But again, they're hero down wars. We're not really trying to win as much. We're just trying to get some gameplay and get a little bit of loot. The win would be nice, but let's jump into this first replay here. Now, the Royal Champion. What Dub wants to accomplish here is charge down straight into this eagle, right? And normally when you have that kind of charge, this Inferno Tower is pesky, let's just say, right? Because if you charge past there, you have a chance of cooking your healers. Now, if you come from this direction, it's a lot more doable, but this funnel is a lot harder to create, right? So ideally, he wants to come down this way. And what he identifies is bring the queen down this way, bring the Royal Champion in here to get that Inferno. She also is going to get that Royal Champion, which is nice. And he did have a Pekka tanking for his Royal Champion. But you see here, once the Royal Champion gets in there, takes down that Inferno, the queen has smooth sailing, right? So we'll finish out this raid. It's a minor raid. It's really nice. He charges into the eagle with the wall wrecker and brings a jump. So he's only bringing 2 heal spells for the miners. So here he goes, 3 ice golems in his wall wrecker, which is pretty freaking tanky, you know. Charging with the wall wrecker might be a thing I do a video on later too. Here he goes, bringing in the miners from like the 2 o'clock. Gonna go straight into that town hall. He's gonna heal on the town hall, and then he's actually not gonna heal again the rest of the raid. The queen got so deep into the base that there's just nothing that is gonna stop her or the miners now that they've pushed through what is arguably the hardest section of the core. So we'll go ahead and fast forward this so we don't have to watch all the cleanup in regular speed. And there you go. All right, the next raid I want to look at. So use number 1, she's good for funneling the queen, but also sniping that Inferno Tower. But if you notice, you got the Royal Champion and the Inferno Tower. Pretty big, pretty big. All right, let's go to number 7. So this is my hit here with plan B. And what I want to do is cut a funnel here with the Warden Walk and cut a funnel here and then charge up here with a kill squad and hog the rest of the base. So I did a 3 healer Warden Walk, just kind of moving his way through. We'll fast forward till we get to the part about the Royal Champion. There we go. Cleaned up a nice funnel. Got the king and a Pekka on the other side. Handful of bowlers and the queen. It's a soft CC, which is really good for kill squads. And my goal with this kill squad is basically to get the queen and the eagle. Whenever the queen and eagle are right behind the town hall, if I can send a kill squad in to get them, I do, and then you can easily hog the back end of the base. So here we go with the hogs. Now the hogs are just meant to come here first and take this down, and I put the Royal Champion here to cut that funnel to make sure the hogs stay inside. And it doesn't actually work as well as I wanted it to, being as there's a Tesla farm here. And then the Royal Champion cuts in to get these buildings. The hogs were just a little bit too slow. I wanted that champion to come down here. But the Royal Champion following the hogs is super powerful. She's basically like a hog queen, right? She's just like a hog, targets only defenses. And she's very, very strong. She has a lot of hit points and does a lot of damage. But also, she'll clean up the skellies behind the hogs. Remember when I did the hybrid, that was half of the reason I decided to integrate miners with my hogs, was because of skelly traps. So here she goes, working her way through, full health all the way through the raid. Pretty powerful. Granted, these aren't the most well-developed bases, but this video is more or less just talking about the ideas behind the ways we're using our Royal Champions. All right, let's move on to number 14. So E-Rock's going to come in here with a queen charge miner. So I'm going to speed it up till we get to the part with the royal champion. Basically charging in to get the town hall, the queen, and pull the CC. He's got his king to funnel the miners on the opposite side. All right, here we go. He puts his royal champion in right behind his miners. Now, this is also very powerful. However, I think with miners, this strategy with the royal champion is a little bit weaker than it is if you just use hogs. Because when the miners go underground, the royal champion starts taking all that fire from everything that was shooting the miners is now shooting the royal champion. See, Warden's there to keep that champion alive just a little bit longer. He had his stone slammer on the outside picking off the buildings, the defensive buildings. Here we go. But you'll notice that royal champion, unlike in the previous raid, is not going to make it the whole way. Now, it doesn't matter because the hog miner hybrid is very powerful, and this is basically a dip. And they buffed hogs, miners, and heal spells. So it made this attack even stronger than it already was. But his royal champion doesn't live. So for the minor raids, just pure minor raids, I wouldn't recommend putting your royal champion right behind the miners to move with them. It's not a terrible idea. I just think there's better uses for her. And even though this raid triples, I use this as an example of what not to do with your royal champion. All right, let's go to the next one, number 29. Here we go. All right, so here we're going to do the traditional Pekka smash. And he's going to warden walk one side of the funnel. There he goes. Queen. Queen on the other side because either he knows there's a hound in here or he's banking on a hound. And putting your queen to funnel is a very strong funnel, and you're never going to pop the hound because she doesn't get hooked onto that hound in the middle of the base. So here we go. Slammer down out here. Pushing his way through the base. Now, he realizes he just pulled a Tesla farm, right? And he decided in his raid that there's no way his slammer's going to make it all the way through that by itself. And if it pops there and the balloons come out, they're going to die before they get through there, right? So he puts the royal champion down to help work their way through that entire area. Now, he does end up pulling air skellies, and the royal champion gets hooked onto him. But alone, neither one of them could have made it through that farm. Together, they both make it through the entire raid. And I've thought that was pretty interesting because I kind of think putting your royal champion with the slammer is not the best utilization of both of their strengths because they target the same buildings. Now, if you're going in and sniping an air defense to keep the slammer alive, I think that's pretty smart. But I think that using them together just to take down defenses, maybe not the best. In this situation where there's a huge Tesla farm and there's no way the slammer gets hardly any value out of that, then yeah, I think that was perfect. But in most cases, I don't think I would use the royal champion and slammer together unless you're poaching off an air defense. Let's go down to 31. We have another queen charge miner. So he's going to charge straight into this town hall. He's going to wall break 2 layers deep into this town hall compartment or town hall area. Here he goes, going to get the CC down. And I believe he starts his miners up here. And king to funnel here. All the rest of the wall breakers, let the queen get all the way into the base. Okay, so now, now we have, again, the miners and the royal champion. Let me slow that down. And I still feel like the royal champion behind the miners in this way, maybe not the strongest. It's definitely not weak, especially because the champion will pick off skellies. But here he goes. His royal champion goes in and gets the enemy royal champion right there. He had the slammer to come over here. The slammer didn't get a ton of value, but it did do its job, and it's got hogs in it, so he's going to go ahead and take down this base. He had the king saved back end for this Tesla farm over here. I thought that was really interesting. And something else is the healers switched on to the royal champion when the queen went down. So the royal champion's actually going to live through this whole raid. Something I thought was pretty interesting, that healer switch. And I'm going to show another raid involving that healer switch right now. I think it was number 6. Here we go. Now this is the hog miner hybrid, and what I thought was really interesting about this raid, he's going to charge around the town hall as you do. There he goes. Pull the CC, send the slammer in to break the queen into the base. There he goes. King to funnel this side for the hogs and miners to target the town hall. Now, look here. The queen has walked outside of the base instead of coming up and getting these 2 inferno towers. So now he has a decision to make where, how am I going to get this eagle down? He sends the royal champion in where the queen went out. So this could be a really good way to audible. If the queen takes off and walks the wrong way on you, you can send the royal champion in to get those objectives that you wanted the queen to get when she missed them. So here we go. Hogs and miners taking down this side of the base. Royal champion taking down the eagle, and now the healers have switched to the royal champion. And so the queen is going to die on the outside, which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Obviously, if you can keep the queen alive, you do. But when things go bad, like they did in this raid, the healer switch to the royal champion is actually huge because she's going to clean up a ton of this base. Whereas this scatter shot would have killed those miners 100%. This raid would have been a fail. But with the healers on that royal champion working her way through the base, this is going to be a triple. So I'm going to show one last raid, and it was on airsick at the bottom down here. Okay, so this base has, I don't think, ever been tripled 12v12 since I built it. This is a base we built on my Patreon. I gave to my patrons probably 6-7 months ago, and I've been using it on my mini account ever since because it's so strong. But this guy manages to triple it, one, because obviously he has almost max heroes. He has only down 1 level on his warden. But also the royal champion and the way he uses it here is very strong. And I've had a lot of people try to Pekka smash this base this exact way, and they never seem to be able to get it. But watch this. 1, that storage he picks off there makes a good funnel. But 2, he shoves in here. He's going to drop his slammer to clean up this outside edge of the base and eventually let the Pekkas out down there at the back end of the base. He then puts an ice golem and his royal champion in down here to clean up this farm. And what had happened in the past is that people would get a really high percent on this base if the raid went perfect. But they either couldn't get through this farm over here, where the royal champion is down here, or if they sent their king there in the beginning to funnel for the warden, they just couldn't quite get through this compartment back here. So using this, it's almost like a 2 slammer method, right? Because you got the slammer working down here, obviously. But because Royal Champion does the exact same job as Slammer does, it's almost like a second Slammer there at the 12 o'clock. And because of that, he crushes this base. Poor little Town Hall 12. But yeah, so that's just some of the things that we've been doing and some of the things we've been seeing other people do with their Royal Champions. And I kind of wanted to share that with you guys. So yeah, try to incorporate some of those ideas into your plans for your next hits or whatever's coming up. I know I certainly will be. And yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one.